The garage doors are shut and the track is empty. On the most important morning of 2026, Aston Martin's $90 million Challenger is missing, and rumors say Adrian Newey is the reason. It is January 26, 2026, and the most anticipated Formula One season in decades kicked off just hours ago in Barcelona. This is not just another winter test, because it marks the dawn of a new regulation era featuring active aerodynamics, lighter chassis rules, and a controversial new engine formula. Every team knows that mileage today is worth gold tomorrow. Mercedes was the first out of the gate at 9 a.m., screaming down the main straight, with Kimi Antonelli pushing the W17 to its limits. But down at the Aston Martin end of the pit lane, silence reigns. Sources inside the paddock have confirmed the British team will miss not just today, but tomorrow as well. That means 40% of this shakedown test will happen without a single lap from the AMR 26. For a team that just opened a state-of-the-art factory and signed the greatest designer in history, this silence is deafening. Fans are asking if this is a calculation or a catastrophe. And the answer seems to lie deep within the team's new simulation data. Reports confirm this morning that the AMR 26 will remain on the stands until Wednesday, at the earliest. Although the Barcelona test is technically private, you cannot hide the lack of engine noise. Insiders suggest the team has targeted January 28th for their debut, giving them only 3 days of running before packing up for Bahrain. This is a massive gamble, with the 2026 regulations changing everything from energy deployment to wheelbases. Missing 2 full days of data correlation is risky. If the car has a fundamental issue on Wednesday, they have 0 buffer time to fix it. We know that equipment and personnel are in Spain, but the car itself is not ready to fire up. Adrian Newey's fingerprints are all over this delay. Since taking over as team principal late last year, he hasn't just tweaked the car, he reportedly ordered a complete reset of the development tools. Sources claim Newey demanded a full recalibration of the wind tunnel and a rewrite of the simulation software over the summer because he didn't trust the existing data. He drives concepts to the absolute extreme, and he would rather lose 2 days of track time than test a car based on flawed numbers. It is a classic Newey move, involving short-term pain for long-term gain. But it has put the entire factory under immense pressure to deliver a perfect machine straight out of the box. If you want to know the second the AMR 26 actually hits the track, hit subscribe and ring the bell, because we are tracking every lap of this test, so you don't have to. We need to look at the engine situation next. This delay is strange because the engine seems ready to go. Honda just held a massive launch event in Tokyo on January 20th to show off the new RA626H power unit. They stood on stage with Lawrence Stroll and promised a championship-winning engine. Yet here we are 6 days later, and that engine is sitting cold in the garage. This suggests the holdup is purely on the chassis side. Integrating a new works engine partner is notoriously difficult, and if the packaging is even a millimeter off, the car simply won't run. The gap between Honda's public confidence and the team's trackside absence is starting to make people nervous. Aston Martin isn't the only team sweating right now, because the panic in the pit lane is widespread. Williams has officially withdrawn from the entire Barcelona test due to failed crash tests, meaning they won't turn a wheel until Bahrain. McLaren and Ferrari also opted to skip day 1, choosing to run extra dyno simulations instead. This context is key because it shifts the narrative. If everyone was running except Aston Martin, it would look like a failure. But since half the grid is struggling to meet these aggressive 2026 deadlines, Newey's delay looks less like a mistake and more like a shared industry hurdle. The difference is that Mercedes is out there right now, racking up hundreds of kilometers, while the others watch. There is a historical precedent that should terrify Aston Martin's rivals because we have seen this before. Red Bull often release their cars at the very last second under Newey's watch, only to show up and obliterate the field. The logic is simple, since every extra hour in the wind tunnel is worth more than a day of cruising around a track with a basic setup. By delaying the build, the AMR26 might feature aerodynamic surfaces that were designed just 2 weeks ago, whereas Mercedes might be testing parts that were signed off in November. In a development race this steep, 3 months of extra aero time is a lifetime. This might be a calculated strike to hide their true innovations until the cameras in Bahrain cannot miss them. Fernando Alonso is watching this clock tick down with more intensity than anyone. He committed to this project for one reason, which is the promise of a third world title. At his age, he doesn't have time for a development year and needs a rocket ship immediately. If he steps into that car on Wednesday and it feels balanced, he will forgive the delay instantly. However, if he loses 2 days of testing only to find a car with correlation issues or mechanical gremlins, the mood in that garage will turn toxic very fast. Alonso and Newey are two of the most demanding figures in sport, so this partnership relies entirely on the car actually working when the key turns. The 2026 cars rely heavily on electrical power, with a near equal split between the combustion engine and the battery system. This complex hybrid system requires immense cooling and precise software mapping. Skipping the first 2 days robs Honda of major real-world data on how that battery creates heat in traffic or over long runs. Simulators are great, but they cannot replicate the vibration of a curb or the specific cooling airflow of following another car. By compressing their test program into just 3 days, Aston Martin is betting that their reliability is bulletproof. One water leak or sensor failure on Wednesday could cause their entire preseason program to collapse. Wednesday, January 28th is the hard deadline. If the garage opens and the AMR26 rolls out at 9 a.m., the panic dissolves. But if Wednesday morning arrives and the covers stay on, we are looking at a crisis. The team claims this is the most optimistic scenario, which is engineer speak for cutting it incredibly close. Mechanics will likely be working 24-hour shifts for the next 2 days to assemble the car. The parts are arriving from the UK in suitcases and overnight freight. The pressure inside that garage right now is unimaginable because they have to build a Formula One car from scratch in a foreign pit lane, while Mercedes zooms past them outside. This situation forces us to question the reality of modern Formula One development. If Aston Martin succeeds after skipping 40% of the test, it proves that physical track time is becoming obsolete compared to digital simulation. It would validate Newey's controversial decision to rebuild the team's digital tools rather than focus on early production. However, if they struggle, it serves as a brutal reminder that you cannot simulate everything. The broader implication is for the championship fight, because Mercedes has already banked a day of data. That head start compounds as they find setups, while Aston Martin is still finding bolts. For the fans, it adds a layer of drama to the Bahrain opener. We won't truly know if this was a masterstroke or a misstep until qualifying in March. But the gamble has been made, and Aston Martin is all in. The silence in Aston Martin's garage speaks louder than any engine today. We will know by Wednesday whether this is the calm before the storm or just the calm before the crash. Thanks for watching, and make sure you're subscribed to catch the update when they finally hit the track.